Very good morning to you guys. Hope you're doing well. We have a little bit of a hustle with Aussie USD and the Euro USD, and there's going to be quite a battle on those two particular currencies. And you could probably argue the Euro Aussie as well. There's going to be a big tug of war, basically. And now the risk calc was pretty terrible, and now that's improved. So that's of note. And we were quite poor, about 30%, just about half an hour ago. So it tells us that as we go into the London session, it squeezes the retail guys, and that would be normal. And our robot will only open on the condition that we've got a failure rate above 50%. So once we get a sufficient move on the day shift, then it will trigger that trade. But it has to satisfy the condition that the herd are getting crushed before it opens any trades. Note there's not much shifting on the day. There's hardly any movement at all. So it's probably going to be a quiet affair. And we've got the Independence Day 4th of July today, and the US banks are going to be closed. And it's going to be a big hustle tomorrow because they're going to be positioning for NFP. Okay, so that's worth noting. Come back to the dashboard. Now, we were quite strong in the technical risk calc on Friday close, very strong, and we lost some points because the US PMI was really bad. It was the poorest reading since 2020. So it's like fairly risk off data release that we had yesterday, and there's the bubble. So you can expect a bit of a hustle with AU and EU and EA. Okay, and yen's back over here again. It's just bonkers. The herd a really long yen, but they're adding all the time. So we'll have to see how we go with that. And I won't tell you about the robot because there's nothing to report, because I reported you guys, updated you guys last night, and I don't know if we're going to get any signals at all, because there's not going to be, so far there's not any shifting really, to be honest. And if anything's going to trigger, it's going to be the Euro USD. It had a decrease in the scores and they've gone long, so that will satisfy the sell criteria, because we're looking to sell reps down here, we're looking to buy dips up there. So I'll show you the indices, and I think because we've got the 4th of July, there won't be a trade set up for gold, but we can look at the stop loss clusters. And here was an SLC. So we fell quite heavily, 4 hours into the selling, and it took out liquidity. They just so happened to coincide very nicely with that diagonal 4 times. And now they've sold it again, so we're going to be able to create a box here. We have had the crossover. Yes, we have had it. See that number there is lower than that number, so it tells us that the SSI is lower than the moving average, so therefore we've had a cross. So we can do a very thin box, yeah, so no setup I think today, but we can look at the stop loss clusters, can't we? So yeah, we should be above that if they continue to sell it. So let's look at the indices. It'll be a quick video, I think. It's not that much to talk about. So yeah, we are sideways, but they had gone long, so therefore we created a zone, and it came into play. Decent reaction off that zone, but if they're going to sell it, we'll come up to test that zone and potentially even go higher. Depends on what happens here. And S&P. Yeah, we're breaking above that zone. They'd gone long, so we should probably have fallen, which we did initially, and then we've just gone sideways since. So bullish above that level, and we are by the big picture, aren't we? We have to remember the technical risk calc is risk on, but we have lost some points because of that data yesterday. And yeah, the Dow Jones is within its punishment zone, and you can see we're sideways. So this might be a little bit more choppy than the S&P, and they had sold it, so we should be above 34477-ish. That's it. So I'll wrap up now. We've got a live feed on the bubbles, so hopefully that helps. We can change it to the QDB scores. Perhaps we might do that later. And we can just chop and change the live feed, so I can show everyone the different aspects of the sheet, which is probably a good idea, isn't it? So I might do that. Perhaps every day we can sort of switch it around a bit. And yeah, that's it. Trade safely. Remember, it's going to be a quiet affair, and potentially we're going to have a Euro USD sell. Okay.